I've got, what have I got? 1 week ago, 1 week ago, 1 week ago. So, just looking at the different regionals, right? So, is this going to show me all top, or is this going to show me the winning decks? There's no way. No way. Dogmatica Monarch won the Cork Regional. No way. That's great. Well, I apologise, Monarchs and Dogmatica. Evidently, you can win a regional. That's insane. Okay. Mitsurugi Yummy. I'll tell you what. Let's put this up here, okay? So, hopefully this has come through. But this is what I want to try and do, right? I want to try and show you where we get this information from, okay? So, just looking at regionals, we've got Brasilia was branded Dracatal. So, if you're including Dracatal as like a supporting factor, like a supporting engine or with Dracatals, it's definitely going to be a lot more competitive than just branded on its own. That's kind of like a given. When we look at this, like branded Dracatal, branded Dracatal, branded Dracatal, branded Dracatal. So you got 4 there. Mitsurugi Yummy, Mitsurugi Yummy, Canine Vanquish Soul, branded Dracatal, Malice, Sulphur Cord Yummy, branded Dracatal, Canine Vanquish Soul. I do not agree with this because if I remember rightly, and if I look at this, I'm pretty sure this is a top 8 one as well, by the way. I'm pretty sure it plays 1 Godos. So there is no way. Yeah, like look at this. It plays 1 Godos. So it's Vanquish Soul K9. It shouldn't have this Godos as the thing, but I get it. It's kind of like a, you know, clickbait type thing. Sulphur Cord Yummy, K9 Vanquish Soul, Atlantean Mermail can still do it. Mitsurugi Yummy and Malice, right? So these are like the past. It looks like this was a top 8 of 44 players, 41 players, 80 players, 80 players. First place winner, 100 players, 100 players, 100 players. You can kind of see like the things that we're working with. Let's see, can I filter this to be America as well? Or is it just TCG? Have America just not had a regional yet? Guatemala. There we go. Just to give you a bit more of an understanding of what else you've got here. Malice, Mitsurugi, Gem Knight, so they can do it. Mitsurugi. Branded Dracatal, Lunalight, Malice, Sulphur Cord Yummy, Ryziel Kashtira, interesting. Mitsurugi, Yummy, Lunalight, Memento, Sulphur Cord, Yummy, Sky Striker. Okay? So, if I take this back to here, I can give you a bit more of an understanding and a breakdown. So when we see that, for stuff that featured in a regional, like at the top end of the regional, now don't worry, I'm going to put these all down to top 64, right? If you're including this with your Dracatal, which I personally don't, I'm considering this as pure. It means that, and maybe this is something I need to change the titling of a video of each one at. I mean, Fiendswift technically has an engine as well. So, what won regionals and got to top 8 of regionals are all of these decks up here. Lunalight was able to get a top 8 somewhere. Memento only got 1. I think Lunalight got 2. Sky Striker got 1. Gem Knight got 1. Yummy had the most, no doubt. And then Dracatal, and then obviously the Mitsu was there with it. What else got stuff? Malice did. I think Malice got more than K9. I could be wrong on that one. Malice probably got a bit more than K9. So yeah, like as top 8s go, that's how varied some of the top 8s and winners were, which is absolutely crazy in that sense. So there's a lot of variety at that top end, which is really, really good. Yeah. So really, really good that. For top 64 capabilities, it's tough. I mean, Sulphur Cord technically should be up here as a bit of an engine as well with Yummy. But I don't know, when someone says, hey, look, I topped an event, and you go, oh, what did you top an event with? And they went with Sulphur Cord, and you're like, oh, that's amazing. What was your list like? And they went, hey, look, I played 10 Sulphur Cord cards and then 30 Yummy cards. And you're like, obviously over-exaggeration on the 30 Yummy cards, but you kind of get the idea, right? So in that case, what else could possibly get a top 64? Should we have a look? Should we see what else we've got on this list? Okay. So let's go to page 3. Primarch Blue Eyes. Okay, so they look like they can do it. Dracatel, Branded Dracatel, Mitsurugi, Branded Dracatel, Mitsurugi, Malice, Yummy, K9, Mitsurugi, Yummy, Malice. Things with Mitsurugi, Primarch Odeon. Okay, cool. Those remote doors as well. However much you take into that one is entirely up to you. Branded, Gem Knight, got 2, Yummy, Mitsurugi, Yummy, K9, Shadol Dracatel. That's kind of cool. Cool tune. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this. This was an interesting build. Mitsurugi, Shadol Dracatel, which I bet this is basically just Winder Turbo, isn't it? Oh no, okay, they actually play Dragon and Beast and everything. Cool, fair play. Mitsurugi, Vanquish, Branded, Yummy. Okay, cool. So, if we're going to use that same logic, it means Odeon and Blue Eyes Primarch are better than all of these right now. I'm pretty sure this... Didn't Yaxing get, like, second with this? With Vanquish Soul Crystron? Pretty sure that deserves, like, a top 8 feature, right? And when I say that it deserves a top 8 feature with this stuff, what I'm talking about is I'm not talking about, hey, look, I played 3 of the quick play Radiant cards. That doesn't count. That's not that we're not counting that. That's not how this works. Page number 5. Yummy Voices Voice. So this was at Peterborough last week. Actually, very interesting build. Very interesting build. I'll click on this and show you it as well. So it was arguably quite a balanced one because nearly, what's that, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So technically like 17 cards were Voices Voice. And the idea behind this one is it gave all their light monsters targeted protection, which is really cool. And only 2 Marshmallow. So this can get a top 8 if it's with Yummy. If it's on its own, it's probably not getting a top 8, is what I'm trying to get to. Mitsurugi, Yummy, Memento, Yummy, Branded Dracatel, K9 Crystron, there you go. Mitsurugi, Yummy, K9, Yummy, Mitsu, Malice, Orcust, and Malice. So arguably Orcust can do it as well, wherever Orcust are. As an engine, Orcust can do it. So you can kind of see what I'm trying to go for here, right? I'm trying to rearrange this. As it currently stands, everything from Rogue down is probably not going to make much. Like, Rogue, I don't know why I've got 2 U-Bells up there, but Rogue will give any of these decks a run for that. Like, we'll give them a bit of a tough time, but they're probably not going to come out the victor. So that's kind of how you need to look at those ones. Everything else round here, it's kind of just... it's kind of just not pot luck, but just kind of how it changes. Okay, so let's talk about the 3 brand new decks. Okay, let's talk about the Cool Tunes, Enneacross, and Heka Hands. Now I'm going to start with the Enneacross because this is the deck that I have played the most. I took it to Peterborough Regional, it didn't go well, spoiler. I took it to Locals today, it didn't go well, spoiler. I've been working on it with Shane, so massive shout out to Shane. He took it to an online tournament and got 5th place. Out of, I don't know how many players. There was 4 rounds. He went 3-1, so he did actually really, really well. Now, the deck serves itself better as a stun deck. The reason it serves itself better as a stun deck is because it needs to slow the pace of the game down. It struggles going second a lot more, but it can be very, very resilient because all of the cards to reveal in the hand to summon any monster from your hand in face down defense position is not hard once per turn. So you can just go reveal, summon an unknown, reveal, summon an unknown. And I feel that my Locals experience today was just bad because either it was really bad matchups or my opponent just had the outs to the kind of floodgates that I was trying to play. I'm not the biggest fan of having a floodgate style deck, but again, the benefit of the deck as it is for the pure fact that it has that burn capabilities and it can actually produce a lot of burn damage very, very quickly, very, very easily. So if piloted correctly, it can cause a lot of issues. It has some really cool interactive cards like the Mar being able to negate if your opponent activates a card effect on your field during your turn. A lot of the other cards as well, they're very specific requirements, but when those requirements are met, they then produce a decent amount of results. And what I mean by that is if you look at the 4 little ones. So the 4 little ones are Yugioh, which is if your opponent activates a monster effect in the hand, you flip it face up. In doing so, you then get to add an Enneacraft card from the deck to the hand, and then its flip effect is destroy non-target a monster on the field, or a monster your opponent controls. The blue one is when your opponent activates a card or effect that will special summon a card. You flip it face up, and then the flip effect is non-target negate a card on the field or a monster on the field. What have we got on that one? The yellow one is when your opponent activates a card or effect that adds a card to their hand. From the deck to the hand, you flip it face up. You get to, again, add an any craft card, and then non-target banish a random card from your opponent's hand face up until the end phase. And the last one is if your opponent activates a card effect in the grave or banish, flip it, add a card, and then its flip effect is non-target, shuffle 3 cards in your opponent's banish or grave back into the deck. So they can be quite good. The biggest downside is, and sometimes it can be a bit of a benefit, is the card effect, the flip effects are a chain late. And what I mean by that, the exact same with the Mar, its flip effect is you change all of your opponent's monsters to face down defense position, and they can't change their battle positions, which is really, really powerful if you can activate it, resolve it, and go from there. Like, locking all their opponent's monsters face down is massively, massively powerful. And it's obviously one of the ones that reacts when your opponent activates a card effect during your turn on the field. Then you've got Tail, which is when your opponent activates a card effect that will destroy a card on the field. You flip it face up. Your any across spells and your monsters can't be destroyed by card effects until the end of the turn. And it banishes, I believe that's the one that banishes one randomly from the extra deck. You've got Pixia, which is when a card effect is activated that targets one of your cards. You flip it face up, negate the targeted effect. Your cards can't be targeted while it's face up on the field. And then it banishes a random card for your opponent's hand. And the last one is Leon, which when your opponent activates a card effect in response to your Enneacraft card activation, flip it face up, non-target, shuffle 3 monsters on the field back into the hand, I believe it is. Tail has an effect that every time a monster is sent to their graveyard, they take 900 damage. Leon has every time your opponent adds a card from their deck to the hand, they take 900 damage. And they've just got so much. Like, they've got a lot of consistency. The question it really comes down to is the non-engine that you play with it. And the thing with the deck is it has so much main engine space because you play pretty much everything at free, because you have cards that, pay 900 life points in the scale, reveal 3 Enneacrafts, add one of them's randomly added to your hand. So you just constantly keep revealing 3 Enneacrafts with the same name is what you're trying to do. But once you hit in this grind state, that's when it gets a little bit awkward. As mentioned, because you have your normal summon available to you, you have Vanities, you've got Majesty, you've also got like Zaborg, Kogimira Guardian, you name it. You've got a lot of variety. As it currently stands, I still think that it is very undefined. It can very easily get hit. Like, I got hit today with Droll once. I got hit with 3 Imperms on a Vanities. I got hit with an Evenly Matched. And I got hit with a Super Poly. Now, the Super Poly was obviously against a Yubel player, so all they needed to do was get a Yubel on the field, and then every time I flipped my cards face up, they were like, okay, cool, Super Poly, clear everything off. So whether you put that down to, bad matchups, whether you put down to like a bit of bad luck or whatever, the deck has its natural fragilities. Now, like I said, this is only its first wave of support, but there's still more to come, and there's a lot of hype around it. So it's something you need to kind of keep in mind and consider when you're putting it all together. So for me, right now, I still feel it's in the casual level. For Shane, he'll probably say it's at a local, like at a locals level. But at the moment in time, I've played the deck at, and not including like physical testing, I've played 7 rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! Swiss with the deck. And of those 7 rounds, I've won like little games in between the best 2 out of 3. But I've only won 1 duel. Now, like I said, that could be a bit of, it doesn't have a killer edge to it as well. It can't kill the game off. If you can't set up those counters to get the burn off, you can't win the duel. So it does make it very, very awkward. I still feel that it's probably the most undefined because it's one of the ones that has the least outside involvement that can be utilized through other decks. And what I mean by that is the cool tunes can use every hand trap tuner around or hand interact tuner around. It's just missing its extra deck. So it benefits in a simplified game state. The Heka Hands can be utilized in a host of different ways. You could play the Horus package if you wanted to, because you can turbo out Zombie Vampire. You can play it with the Chimera Illusions. You can play it with Branded. Like, it has different supporting synergies that could really help it out, because unlike Enneacraft and Cool Tunes, where they can lock themselves into certain special summoning mechanics, the Heka Hands are pretty much free to do as they wish. So, talking about Heka, let's talk about Cool Tunes. Okay, so Cool Tunes, what do? They have this condition. It's not an effect, it's a condition, a very good condition to have right now. But it allows you, if you would use it on the field as synchro material, you can use a tuner in your hand as the other material. So it means if it gets impermed, if it gets stopped, if it gets negated, as long as it's still on the field, you can synchro off, even though it's been negated, because it's a condition, not an activated effect. So this is really, really important. The issue it has right now is that the deck itself doesn't have anything too disruptive. Like, the best card is in my opinion, is the Cool Tune RS. And the reason that is the best one is for the pure fact that in a simplified game state, the RS has the ability to banish a tuner from the graveyard during the main phase, target a face-up card your opponent controls, and negates effects until the end of the turn. So really important. It does get better, however, after Burst Protocol, as I pretty much pull up the card, tuner synchro, because in Burst Protocol, there's a card called Zarin the Chain-Bound Dragon, which is like absolutely insane, and the name pretty much says it all. So it requires a tune-up plus a synchro monster, so it's a little bit awkward to make, but it's also quite good that it works with cool tunes, because it means that it's relatively, it's not generic or splashable. If it, you can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card you control would be used as synchro material, you get to treat it as a non-tuner. And then when a card or effect is activated in response to the activation of a card or effect, quick effect, you get to activate one of the following effects. Negate the effect that was chained and destroy it, or you negate the effect of the card that was responded to. So what's really good about that is if you were to go activate... So technically, when a card or effect is activated in response to the activation of a card or effect. So if they do Nibiru on resolution, you're kind of screwed. But if you were to go, for example, activate this card effect and your opponent goes chain Nibiru, you could then chain the Zarin the Chain-Bound Dragon to negate the Nibiru. It's also a very good one as well, because if your opponent goes Nibiru and you chain any card or effect to said Nibiru, you can then chain the Zarin to your own card and negate the effects of the card that was responded to. So you get to negate the Nibiru, which is really, really kind of cool. So the Zarin, the Chain-Bound Dragon, is actually a really cool card. I'm really excited about that one. I'm hoping it's not going to be a secret rare, but it quite possibly will be, which wouldn't totally surprise me at all. So, yeah. I feel that the Cool Tune has the most... Oh, it looks like I'm frozen. Have I frozen? No, I'm still going. I've just looked at my YouTube, and that's a terrible... There we go. My page had frozen. Apologies. Where was I? Cool Tunes. Cool Tunes have the most potential. They have the most potential to rocket in value. So if you're like someone that wants to kind of capitalize on the market, if the Cool Tune Ultra Rares get to £5 a piece, which when I looked at Card Market last, they were like £7 a piece. Heck, let's have a look now, shall we? Just have a quick look at this one. I'm just going to search Cool Tunes, okay? So Cool Tune RS is like €2. Cool Tune. So, Cool Tune Synchron is £4.39, and obviously these can be in different languages. Retco $4.39, Mix $4.39, RS $2.11, and then you've got Collector Rares and Starlight Rares and you name it. So there's a lot of flexibility. Like the lowest English of a Cool Tune RS is like £17.20 on a Starlight Rare. So you can kind of see that there's a lot of room in that kind of scenario. Anyway, Cyber Dragon and Tenpai, where are you on the list? I mean, Tenpai, it just isn't what it is, what it used to be. Cyber Dragon would be with K9, and as you're joining late on this one, basically what I've done is I've cleared the list down a little bit. Like the Cyber Dragon and K9s would be here. Everything that is top 8 and top 64 is a deck that is already, or an engine that is already featured in a top 8 or a top 64 lately. So I'm just going to put these up here as well, because technically they have. I think even Kashdira has as well, and Fiendsmith. So, but like it's difficult because these are considered like engines. The top 8 are decks that have already got a top 8 or a regional win. How is Malice Mitsu? That's not a combined engine, by the way. It's like Yummy with Solver Chords, but then you've got Dracotels, technically with like branded sometimes as well. And then the Mitsus are on their own, the Malices are on their own. You got K9 Vanquish Soul there. You got Lunar Lights there, Gem Knights, Sky Strikers, Mementos, and K9 Christrons. You'll have to watch the video back to see where I get the justification from. But basically, when you look at the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro deck, this has all of the top 8 decks. And we've gone through 5 pages. And in those 5 pages, the decks that feature are pretty much all these decks up here. Like hybrids and everything else in between. So anyway, right now, I think that they could be quite interesting at locals. But I do feel that they have... they've got a lot more to... They've got a lot more to kind of learn and change and kind of get to it. And I feel they have the potential to get the best support. The best support that will really, really change them and take them up a level. Heka Hands. So let's talk about Heka Hands. So this is the last of the new set. Kind of pick up from there. So this is the last of the new archetypes from the set. Heka Hands, I feel, have the most flexibility because what you're really looking for is you're looking for different bridges. And what I mean by that is the deck does very, very well when it controls one of your opponent's monsters. So the ways it can control one of your opponent's monsters is Zombie Vampire, and you can turbo out Heka Hand and Tempai together would be crazy. I mean, apart from the fact that it would be a normal summon, like the Tempai would be a normal summon, I'm not sure where you'd get extra from. Where was the Heka Hands? Yeah, so Zombie Vampire is one way to do it, and Zombie Vampire can be facilitated with the Horus cards, and the Horus cards can give you a bit more aggression, a bit more consistency. It can also open up the door to protection, because the Heka Hands don't really protect against Nibiru. They can with the illusions, with the Chimeras, because the Chimeras can kind of get them to a position where it's like, Nibiru me now, or I get the Fiendsmith protection. Or the DDD High Wave King Caesar, and if you do Nibiru me now, I still have the Heka Hands to play. So, I really like the Heka Hands. I think Godos is the one you're going to want to look out for the most, because the Godos is like the hand trap, or the hand interaction style. That's the one that... So, all of the little ones, Gigas, Godos, and Burus, is if your opponent adds a card from their deck to the hand, you get to special summon them. Now, the Gigas and the Burus is during your turn. You can... kind of Beerus looks at a random card in your opponent's hand and go from there. So RB is top 8. They have multiple regional wins and tops. Do they? I mean, I'm only going off of this. So where are the RBs? Softcore Yummies, K9s, Branded Yummies, Malice, Yummies, Malice. Don't make me go to page 10 to find an RB. I mean, I've seen them feature. Oh, there you go. Sky Striker RB. That's one. Branded, Mitsu, Yummy, K9 Branded. And I'm going to judge the RB in a minute. Like, if it's literally like 3 cards, I'm not counting RB as a... Oh, yo, Super Quant Malice. But that's quite an interesting combination. But Yummy, Branded, Softcore, Radiant, Memento. Malice, Branded, Yummy, Gem Knight, okay. Mitsurugis. I'll go to page 10. That's about as far as I'm going. Azamina. White Forest, nice. K9 Argo Star, interesting. Branded, Yummy, K9. I'm not seeing many RBs. Where are the rest of the RBs? Show me the RBs. That's another card you can use. Monster Reborn in Heka Hands is really quite fun. Primite, Mitsu. Are we on page 10? I think we're on page 10. It's only the one. Was it actually RBs? It was RBs. I'll give you that, because it's like, but it plays this card, which is really interesting. What the hell? This is more RB than it is striker. It doesn't even have Ray. You can't class as a striker. No way. This isn't striker. This is legit RB. I'll let you have the RB on that one. Super. I'm curious on this one. What is this? What? No, this is not a Super Quant. You play 5 Super Quant monsters, like 6 Super Quant cards. And it's only to get into the rank 5. Nah, you're not having that as a Super Quant. Get out of here. Anyway, I digress. It's all good. It's all good. I thought there was more. I remember seeing them featured. They definitely had feature matches. Anyway, I digress. So Heka Hands. So Zombie Vampire is a bridge that you can get to with the rank 8. And then with the Chimera illusions and everything else, you get more general synergy, because the Nightmare Apprentice, it lets you search out an illusion monster, which lets you get to your Heka Hands. I always get the names wrong. Ibtel, is it Ibtel? Yeah, Ibtel that you want to be going for. So you get to your Heka Hands Ibtel, and Ibtel's the one that lets you special summon a Heka Hand from the deck. The Heka Hand can then either look at the top 3 of your opponent's deck, or they look at one in your opponent's hand, and you kind of go from there. But like, the deck can kind of rip away quite a bit of resource as well, which is really, really important. So yeah. Then you got the branded one. Like the in my opinion, the Chimera illusion is the best way to do it, because they have the illusions in synergy. They have direct searches of each other. They can hand rip a couple of times as well, so it makes your opponent's starting hand a little bit weaker. The Heka Hands can be quite good as going second. You can utilize cards like Change of Heart, Monster Reborn. The illusion spell card as well is like Eye of Illusion. I think I've got one here. Wherever it is. Yeah, Eye of Illusion. So it gives you that as well to play around with. So there's a lot you can kind of consider when it comes to the Heka Hands. And I feel that as it stands, the Heka Hands has the most concrete variety. Like, you can even play it with cash tiers. Like, there's loads you can mess around with, because they've got level 6s and level 7s. The Enneacrafts are stunned. They're so much more control. They're not as creative, but they, like, in regards to like how combo they want to be. And then you've got the cool tunes that have probably a little bit more. Now, as it currently stands, I think all 3 of these decks are local level. I feel that the Heka Hands are the better ones, depending on which variant you go for in comparison. I think the cool tunes and the Enneacrafts are still a little bit undefined, but I think it's ultimately going to come down to the type of pilot you are, the type of build you want to go for, and of course, the most important factor would be the next wave of support that these decks will get. The next wave of support is either going to bury the deck and be like, these decks are not playable, or they're going to bump them up such a level that it's going to be absolutely insane. So, personally, I'm really looking forward to the next wave of support. We should probably find out when the next wave of support should be in the core set that the OCG are currently revealing now. So we would get it in. So we get Burst Protocol in like February. So it's March, April, May. So May will be when we get the first wave, like the next wave of support for Heka Hands, Cool Tunes, and Enneacrafts. But the OCG should start to reveal them to us come January, February time, I think. Maybe even sooner. But as it's getting close to the Christmas break, that's where it's going to take a bit of a breather and then kind of build on from there. So that's pretty much it for the video. Like, just to kind of reiterate, I feel that all of the 3 new decks from Phantom Revenge are local level. The rest of this is a bit of a mess, because I'm just going to clear this off, right? Technically, this got a top 64 as well. Maybe, I don't know. Just going to clear this off. So, as a bit of a summary, I didn't want to focus on all of these decks here, right? But all of these decks up here are decks and combined engines that have got a regional top within the past couple of months. So since the most recent Forbidden Limited list. Oh yeah, Azamina can also be quite good as well. Azamina is definitely one that I want to try out, because you can get access to the Sylvia, which can be very, very protective. So that's definitely something I need to test out. So these are all decks that have recently either won a regional, topped 8 at a regional, or got the ability to go top 64 or anything else in between. So there's a lot to kind of mess around with. And then this is where I'm kind of putting these brand new ones. I don't think any of them are like rogue levels, because I consider rogue decks to be decks that have a high level and consistent fighting chance. Not a, oh, hey, how can any of the meta decks break Dimension Fissure backed up by Vanity's Fiend? It's like, well, obviously they can't, but if they have Droplet, if they have Imperm, if they've stopped you getting to them, they're not going to do anything. So it's stuff to kind of keep in mind. Like, there's quite a lot of fragilities between all these decks. I'm pretty sure all of them do get hurt by Droll and Lockbird, which is running around right now. So when you're looking at decks like this, where it's like, well, Manus can play through Droll, K9 can play through Droll, Dracotal can play through Droll, Yummy can play through Droll as well. Like, there's a lot to consider. So I think there's a little bit more flexibility than not. Just catching up on some of the chats. Runic Heka Hand Cash Tier would be broken with hand ripping and banishing cards, and then DD Dynamite to burn the game. Oh yeah. Genesis is actually quite a funny one for these new decks, because you can't play Heka Hands in Genesis. Not Heka Hands, sorry, Enneacraft, because they're all pendulums. But technically, Cool Tunes and Heka Hands could be a Genesis style deck. What I'm hoping doesn't happen is that decks aren't made specifically with Genesis in mind. And what I mean by that is, I don't want them to go like, I don't want them to be like, yeah, well, you could play it in Modern, but it's best in Genesis. Like, that's the way they design the deck from that point on. Like, I don't want that, and I don't think anyone really wants that. It should be a deck in Modern that's good, that can then lend itself to... so just checking my sleeves out. That can then lend itself to Genesis. Oh, there you go. OCG. I didn't realise OCG didn't have Genesis. I don't know why I thought it was a generic thing. I just assumed that anything TCG had, the OCG had. I suppose they have speed doors though, don't they? So yeah, I don't know. Genesis is always quite interesting. A killer tune's like low point. I haven't actually looked yet on the Genesis points allocations for. I know that the Heka Hands have a couple of point heavy cards, but then I suppose that's the downside for the Heka Hands as well, is that the Heka Hands, not the Heka Hands, sorry, Heka Hands, is that they already use existing cards, whereas the Cool Tunes can, apart from all the hand trap or the hand interaction tuners, let's have a look. Let's go. What are Cool Tunes looking at? So if I wanted to build Cool Tunes right now in Genesis, what would it look like? Have I not built a Cool Tune deck? That's really bad. Okay. Well, Heka Hands is like 251 points, but that's purely because Kotal is 33 points and then Nightmare Apprentice is 20 points each. But if I went with Cool Tunes... So Cool Tunes are all nothing, actually. So Cool Tunes will really come down to what hand interactions you choose to use. So you kind of want to use as many tuners as you can. Let's clear those off. I'm just going to have a look to see what I can get away with. Because like you play one of that, 1, 2, 3 of that, 1, 2, 3 of that, 1, 2, 3 of that. I like doing that. One of that. Two, let's clear all these out as well. 1, 2. I mean, you'd probably play 3 of everything. I suppose you could play Extrav in the Genesis one, couldn't you? 1, 2, 3. I mean, you've got a lot of space. 1, 2, 3. How many? I don't. There's too many tuners, to be honest. It's not a tuner. Yeah, you kind of want hand interaction. Oh my god, Ally of Justice Cycle Reader is a tuner. Well, if Genesis ever gets light heavy, you could definitely play Ally of Justice Cycle Reader as a 3 of in the deck. Does that open up the door for Synchro 5? Yeah, it opens up the door for Synchro 5s and Synchro 6s as well. Wow, okay, that's kind of cool. Wouldn't play Assault Synchron. Can someone explain to me why wouldn't you play Gofu in Genesis? Why is that 0 points? That's cool. I did see a Centurion version, which I thought was kind of cool as well. Anyway, I digress quite a bit. Killer Tune having no points is unfair. There's new points update in the following weeks. The deck is low-key broken in Genesis. Is it really that bad? The Killer Tunes will get points in the next update. Yeah, I'm surprised they've overlooked them. I thought they wouldn't have overlooked Cool Tunes. But maybe they were like, oh, well, Enneacraft can't be played in it. What do you do for Cool Tunes? So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for every single one of you that joined me live on this one. Any questions at all, by all means, put them in the comments down below. I'm more than happy to answer them. I'll probably hang out and chill a little bit longer as well if you want to. Probably give it about 5-10 more minutes maybe. So I'm just going to end the recording for everyone for the pre-record so it doesn't go on for forever and kind of go from there. But this will be out as a pre-record tomorrow, which is Sunday, and then we'll pick up from there. Let me know what you think of the brand new archetypes. Are there any ones that you are particularly drawn to? Are there any ones that you want to be putting together yourself? And kind of go from there. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Would you like, comment, subscribe, share? Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.